You're listening to The Bunker New York, live on Red Bull Radio.
Hello, you're listening to The Bunker New York on Red Bull Radio. I'm your host, Brian Kasnick, and we're here today with special guest Danny Daze of Omnidisc in Miami. He's going to be DJing for the whole show. We're going to take a break in the middle to talk about him and get his story. So stay tuned. We'll be here for the next 2 hours. Again, this is The Bunker New York on Red Bull Radio.
I'm on fire. My emotions run so deep. You vowed to love me. Is that all about you keep? Your smile is so tender. You got me sighing a sweet surrender. Your touch is so pleasing. Makes me warm inside, makes me feel I'm alive. And I can't resist the heavenly bliss, the magic concealed in your kiss. You must realize what I see in your eyes. Takes me beyond the skies. Silent morning. I wake up and you're not by my side. Silent morning. You know how hard I try. Silent morning. They say a man's not supposed to cry. Silent morning. Why did your love have to be a lie? I'm on fire, and you're my every desire.
You're listening to Red Bull Radio.
Hello, you're listening to The Bunker New York on Red Bull Radio. We've been in the mix with Danny Daze. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that was a super cool set. Really like slow and low, sludgy.
Yeah,
Drug chuggy.
I like to do sets like that a bit more for listeners.
Yeah, I was wondering if this is something that you would do in a club setting ever, or more.
Definitely.
Yeah, because you do longer. You like to do longer sets. I've read.
Yeah, I guess coming from Miami, I started playing at a restaurant. So at 10 o'clock, you would flip over, and then I would go from 10 to 6, 7, and I've always played long sets. It's just part of it. And yeah, I love doing stuff like this. And especially now where things are going really fast. 140 is a new 120.
Yeah.
Playing stuff like this, I think it usually goes in another room, but I absolutely love doing it.
Yeah, and that's the proper way to start a night as well.
Yeah, or in the middle of the night, to be honest. Yeah. I'm totally into that.
And I think it takes an experienced DJ to recognize that. Like all too often, I feel like all too often the wrong DJs are given the opening set of the night, like the least experienced people.
Yeah, when they're banging it out.
And it's like, it kind of...
The opening DJ is a dying art form. DJing is a dying art form, but the opening the opening DJ is one of the most important parts. And, when I started playing, I would have to play Theory Corporation and go into you just have a wide range of sound. But when I was playing these like cafeteria gigs with Diego right here, the guy we have here was one of the guys that first booked me. Yeah. Like in 2004, 2005, when I had just come out of some stuff that I had gone through. He was one of the first ones that gave me the gig, and I would have to do those shows. But that for me was boot camp. That was like DJ boot camp, learning how to keep, the family that was there hanging out, keeping him there for another 2 or 3 hours to spend a little bit more money. And it was super fun at that time.
Yeah, and I feel like there's not as many DJ boot camps these days. Like those kind of experiences for people where
I don't know, is there?
Maybe. I mean, I feel like a lot of cities you can get these bar gigs where you're there from 10 to 4.
Right.
You're there all night. Got to figure it out.
DJing weddings was a big thing, was part of my boot camp. DJing, being 14, playing at like a high school prom was also a boot camp. Extremely fun, but yeah, you get to learn how to read a crowd and stuff like that, which for me is, I think it's one of the reasons that I like to play a little bit of everything, still kind of going into the electro world, but I just love doing it. Yeah.
So you mentioned you started at the age of 14? Or is that when you started, or?
I started DJing at 13. Like my first show was maybe at 14, but I was doing weddings Like my mom bought me equipment, and I had to pay her back, so I had to pay her back somehow. Raves was not gonna pay that. So yeah, I was like 14 playing weddings, and I would have to bring somebody else because my voice was super high pitched at the time. I didn't want to be on the microphone, at weddings announcing people. So I would bring this guy, Ed Ramirez, would come with me, and he would be the MC. He would help me pick up, the 40-pound amplifiers, Crown amps.
So you brought the sound system. You brought
the lights. Yeah, those intelligent lights. Those things that move to the kick. Oh, that was amazing. That was super high tech, man. Like, yo, this moves with the beat. What?
So how do you get jobs as a 14-year-old in Miami doing weddings?
It started off, I guess it was novelty. It started off as my mom telling her co-workers, hey, my son has DJ system and he can play disco for you, and he can play salsa, bachata, he can play whatever, anything. So I would go to these people's houses in the beginning, just play for like $50 and play the whole night. Everybody be drunk as hell. And then all of a sudden, I had my little business cards when I was 14, and I'd give them out. Then all of a sudden, I was like, hey, we really liked your music, and yeah, $200 for 4 hours, I got you. So that's the way it started, and it basically didn't stop.
Yeah, where did it go from there? We noticed Red Bull posted a photo of you in a Murder Capital t-shirt.
Oh,
so I'm guessing like IFM and all of that was...
Yeah, IFM and CBS even before.
Yeah, CBS.
CBS for me was huge because there was a point where I was in house arrest, and that's all that I could listen to, or all that I wanted to listen to. There wasn't really, but this was during a time where internet radio was very, very new, 2004, 2005.
Yeah, there was very little of it then. And then there was no SoundCloud. There were no sets that you could download.
No, you would have to tune in. You would have to go into a forum, and you have secret links. There was another one called The Womb, which I used to have a radio show that was on the beach. It was on South Beach, right on Lincoln Road. That was my first little radio show, and that to me was like, I made it, at 2002, 2003, my first little radio show. But CBS and IFM for me were, one of the reasons I think I stayed sane during that time.
So was that a time you were under house arrest? Did you, is that when you learned to start making music? Because you... Yeah. You couldn't leave the house.
There was 3 guys that I used to chat with. One of them is this guy, the Wee DJs. I believe he's from Edinburgh. The Wee DJs, this guy Dark Vector, and another guy named Michael Forshaw. So these guys, I
remember their records.
Yeah, Michael Forshaw stuff. So I would talk to these guys on AOL Instant Messenger, and they basically taught me how to make music over AIM. Just like, okay, this is Cubase, and I would be like, what the hell's going on with my MIDI? Everything is going crazy. And the Wee DJs, he would be like, yeah, you have a MIDI loop going. Remove the MIDI, the MIDI, make it MIDI through instead of MIDI out. And I was like, damn, this guy's a genius. But they're like from all the way, from other neck of the woods, he was telling me what to do. So and it was, they basically taught me how to make music.
Wow, so that was have you been formally trained at all, or that's it? You just figured it out on your own?
No way. I don't even know how to place my hands on a keyboard, to be honest. And I like to keep it that way. My dad, was an opera singer. He played salsa as well. I was always in a musical family, but I was an athlete. And I don't know, I just saw the band nerds. I didn't want to be part of the band nerds. So I stayed as an athlete, which was pretty stupid of me. I should have been one of the band nerds. And yeah, I just know how to route signal and how to make it work for me. That's it.
Right. Well, how did you learn the engineering side of it? Just on your own? And
I went to SAE.
Oh, okay.
I went to SAE in Miami. But to be honest, it's just trial and error. Because I do things very unconventional. I clip, where it's not supposed, like, SAE did nothing for me, to be honest. When it came down, if I want to go and, record Britney Spears, I know what mics to use and stuff like that. But when it comes to this kind of music, especially electro and techno stuff, you want to go for the unconventional, raw mix. It sounds like it was mixed down in a bathroom, like that. That's the vibe I've always kind of gravitated to.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who teach at SAE and Dubspot and places like that, and they say that they often they feel like they're learning as much from their students as the students are learning from them.
Right.
Because everybody has their own approach.
Right.
And they show them a way to do something that they never, with their formal training or whatever, never would have thought of. Of course.
I mean, all of Detroit was basically, all the music that came out of there was based out of, does this sound good or not? That's it.
Yeah.
Does it make the speakers move? Are the people's are they shaking? Is the dance floor moving? Cool. If it's not, I mean, Charivari is not very mixed down very well. It's one of the best records ever made, in my opinion.
I don't think most of the classic Detroit producers were.
They didn't
trained
care
in engineering.
Yeah, they didn't care, and I tend to go in with that mentality into music, running a label, everything, just kind of DIY, do it yourself kind of thing.
Right. So you mentioned the label. Your label is Omnidisc.
Yeah, Omnidisc. Yeah.
And this is fairly recent.
It's actually a continuation of another label that I had called Omniam, and this was 2005. I ended it in 2007. So it's a continuation. Yeah, I started Omnidisc. When did I start it? 2014, something like that. Yeah, 2014. I'm not even sure, to be honest. It's just I just came back to it. I'm like, okay, these guys that I used to release kind of want to rehash those relationships. And guys like Drug Culture, for example, he used to release under the name Rax, R-A-X. So I used to release him. DJ Nasty, guys like that are people that I'm now starting to release again, and it's because of that old label.
Right. Yeah, you asked, according to Discogs anyways, you started in 2015.
That's when it was.
You've done 18 releases, which is a lot.
Yeah, there's sub-labels. So there's the Polyester series, and then there's the Swim series. So there's a couple different sounds that all kind of fit under the sound palette of Omnidisc, which is, I don't know, just raw.
Right, but it's a lot to get out. I know. I mean, I run a label, so that's a lot to get out.
It definitely is a lot
honestly.
of work. Yeah. It takes work, but I just love it.
So you're doing the work yourself, right?
No. Well, I started for like the first year. It started out me, and that was quite a bit of work. Then my partner Anshaw Black just came in. He's handling the back end. I handle the music and stuff like that. He's just insanely punctual, insanely on point. I'm the complete mess, so it works perfect. That dynamic is perfect. I don't want to have to handle, invoices. He's got great taste in music, so it's very cohesive. It works very well.
Very cool. So, are you still living in Miami, where you grew up, or?
Yeah, ride or die, 305, for sure. I think we have three friends here from Miami.
Yeah, we've got a lot of Miami.
Three of us here are from Miami, and I don't know. There's some sort of pride that comes with being from Miami because we're so. Even though we're in the States, it's a completely different world out there. Cubans. It's a completely different world. There's so much to Miami that people don't know how closely affiliated we are with Detroit. People don't know the Miami-Detroit connection where. Detroit had ghetto tech. We had booty music. We had Miami bass. They had electro. And I don't know. There's just something being from Miami and being Cuban and being raised in the electro breakdancing world, and I love it. I have to stay out there.
I think there weren't there some parties with interdimensional transmissions and schematic. Like some crossover parties, like in Detroit and Miami.
I played with BMG and Ectomorph. I don't know if Eric was there at that party, but we were playing this was in 2005. I played something with them. Prior to that, there was a lot of really good parties. Phoenicia, which you just mentioned, Schematic, Phoenicia, Soul Oddity. Those guys used to throw some of the best parties that I've ever been to in my entire life. It's a shame people won't relive that nowadays, but I was super young. I'm very happy that I was able to experience that at 13, 14, 15 years old. And yeah, it was a really good time out there.
So what do you mean people won't relive it these days?
That atmosphere I don't think will exist again. The full moon parties that we used to do where you had happy hardcore in the batting cages. So this place called Full Moon, this place called Malibu Castle Park used to throw parties every full moon. And in the batting cages, you had happy hardcore. In the golf course, you had ambient. In the inside breaks room, you had breaks. And so it was an arcade store that was split up in ways where you can experience whatever it is that you want. Nowadays in Miami, at least, I don't know. I don't think people go to destination parties. This was a destination. This was really close to my neck of the woods by Mall of the Americas, which is like the Cuban side of Miami.
Okay.
And it was a destination spot. Nowadays, if I want to do a party in the Everglades in Miami, which I've always wanted to do, one of these, like a party on a ranch, it would be a lot of work to do that. So it's going to happen at some point, but it takes a lot of work to try and galvanize these people to come out.
So it's pretty much club stuff in Miami now.
Basically, yeah.
But you also you must spend a lot of time in Europe because I was looking at your gig schedule. You play a lot.
Yeah, well, like I said, I like to be in Miami. I live right next to my mom. I like to be there. It feels like home. And so I bounce quite a bit back and forth. I don't mind spending the money and breaking even, not even making money, on these shows, just so I can come home, feel home, have the dirtiest Cuban food possible. It's being Miami. It's being one of these Miami guys.
So where are you based when you're over in Europe? Or do you just bounce around? Berlin?
Yeah, Berlin. I'll be moving to either Rotterdam or Amsterdam. I have a lot of friends out there. It just feels more like home when I'm there, to be honest.
Yeah. So do you feel there was a point where things really started to blow up for you, for your career as like a touring DJ, or has it just been a kind of slow and steady chug?
No, it was an exponential. I've had a couple exponential ups and complete downs before. The exponential up for me after one of them was with Diego when he first booked me in 2005, 2006, where I was, still in house arrest when I sent him a demo of a mix. I don't even know what I did. It was all over the place, but he hired me. I was like, all right, cool. Damn, this is step number one as a DJ to make money. The second point was that release I did with Hot Creations in 2011. That was insane to me. That I've never seen or felt anything like that before, because I thought I had created an electro clash record,
Right.
I thought I created an electro. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's kind of poppy. This might do something cool. Miss Kitten and the Hacker sort of vibe. And then all of a sudden, my first gig ever overseas is Room 1 at Fabric. I'm like, wow, okay, something just happened. My life just completely changed. And so it's been a couple exponential, growth. After that, I noticed that I was in kind of the wrong scene. I got placed into the wrong scene. I'm like, man, I don't think these people like the music that I play. And I got kicked out of the booth early because I was playing techno and electro. And, it tapered out. I'm like, okay, I need to start growing this again little by little so people know exactly what I'm about.
Right.
And I guess that's where I'm at now.
Right. So you would show up at these parties where they would, I just found out about this Hot Creations 2011 thing, reading it's like in everything.
Yeah.
Everywhere that's written about you. I'm like, I'd never heard this track. What is this?
Yeah, it's a big part of why people know me, and another big part why some people are like, he released on Hot Creations, and he plays like deep house or something. So it took a lot of time for people to somehow figure out who it is that I am and what I do. But I could have easily say change my name, but I can't.
You've been Danny Daze
since '99.
Yeah,
I can't. My mom gave me that name, and and if you go back and listen to the record rather than the affiliation of deep house or whatever it is, you're like, okay, this kind of is an electro record. So it's been fun slowly changing people's perception, and just so people, they just get what I do now, and that to me is super, super satisfying.
Yeah, it seems like you're doing a great job. Congrats.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Thanks.
And to talk about the immediate, you've got some pretty big gigs coming up this weekend, right?
Oh yeah, I go. Straight from here, I go to Panorama. Then after that, I come back. Then after that, I'm taking some time off. Oh no, wait! This Friday, this Friday I play with Black Madonna here.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
For Mean Red, Black Madonna party.
And then I head immediately after to Berlin to play Panorama. Then I come back to Miami for Art Basel, just chill. And then I'm gonna try and take some time off to work on an album.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
For your own label?
No, I'm just gonna make it, and then wherever it comes out, it comes out. I think once you start making something for a label, you tend to try and make something that sounds like the label.
Yeah, I've had a little bit of that with our label, with The Bunker, where I've asked somebody to make something, and I had an idea of what I thought they could do, and then they made something that sounded like other releases on the label. And I was like, no, I want all the releases on the label to sound different, not the same.
I think one of the worst things that somebody can send you on an email, hey, I think you'll like this. It sounds like your label. Hey, I think this fits your label. It's like, no, man, let's try and keep the spectrum as wide as possible, And that's kind of what I would like to do with the album, is take I don't know, pop mentality that I had, making, you know, bootleg edits of like Blister in the Sun, and put that together with electro and whatever it is that I'm doing and see what comes out. Then pitch it to whoever might, you know, like it.
Yeah. Or pitch it to some labels that you think will hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to hate this.
Yeah. You're going to hate this. That's a good email. Yeah. I'd open that
Subject.
one. I'd open that one before anything else.
Really terrible music that you shouldn't listen to.
Yeah, this is the worst. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, should we get back into it? You said you're going to do something a little different in the second hour here?
Yeah, I'm going to play some bangers.
Okay, so we're going to get into some bangers here.
Yeah, some, you know, let's dance now.
Yeah. So we're here with Danny Daze, and you're listening to The Bunker New York on Red Bull Radio.
You're listening to Red Bull Radio.
Underground.
Bull Radio.
Hello, you're listening to The Bunker New York on Red Bull Radio. We've been in the mix with Danny Daze. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys, for having me. That was fun.
Yeah, really loved both sets a lot.
Thanks.
Couple Bunker announcements. On New Year's Eve, we're doing a party in a Brooklyn warehouse with Patrick Russell and Nahal Ramchandani, Justin Cudmore, Antennas, and Just, who is in the studio today. And then on January 6th, we're doing the Bunker 15-year anniversary at Elsewhere with R. Rose, Ninos do Brazil, Antennas, Patrick Russell, myself, Jane Fitz and Eric Cloutier, Hot Mix, and Wrecked. More info on all that at thebunkerny.com. The show will be back on December 7th with Eric Cloutier. And Danny, you had something to say about the final track?
Yeah. I actually wanted to play this record. I mean, it's kind of chaotic, but it's one of my favorite electro records of all time. It came out on Twilight 76, which is an old Godfather record. This is by Mass 2008.